Hello, everyone. It's Renee, the Practical Shaman, back with the more of Winter Solstice Extravaganza today. And with me today is John Lockley, and he is going to talk about divination. And he has some, I always love his stories and things because, he talks about the smoke and the wind, and there's many ways that they have in South Africa to do divination that are different than a lot of other places in the world. So take it away.
Yes. Well, it's great to be here, and happy solstice to everyone. And so today we're talking about oracles and divination. So what is divination but that connection to the soul? And what is that? What is the soul? But it's our connection to our immortality. And what is immortality? Immortality means living forever. So what does it mean to live forever? Well, if you follow the ancient texts, whether it's the Vedas or the Sanskrit or the Upanishads or the old Buddhist scriptures, and it talks about that state of being connected to your consciousness. Consciousness is like that wind. It's that ephemeral wind that moves through everything. And in the traditional Xhosa way, we talk about umoya, which is the wind inside of us. And the work of a sangoma and the work of a human being is for us to connect to that wind inside of us, the wind of spirit, the wind of consciousness. And in the traditional South African way, in the traditional shamanic way, we say it's the responsibility of every human being to connect to the wind inside of them, to connect to their umoya. And why is that important? Because we say that if you don't connect to the wind inside of you, then you're not connected to your humanity. And if you're not connected to your humanity, then your community and the rest of the world is under threat. And because you're not working from that place of humanity, of empathy and compassion. So these old teachings are just as relevant, probably even more relevant today because of all the distractions we have. So today I'm just going to go through with you some of these teachings and how it can be impactful for you. So a lot of these things you've probably heard about already in terms of divination and spirit and soul. But what does it mean to connect to these places inside ourselves? So we're going to do a little bit of a guided meditation just now, and then I'm going to get my pack of cards, my oracle cards, and I'm going to just play around with them and just pick a few cards. But right now, I invite you, wherever you are, to connect to that wind inside of you. And in Buddhism, they would say, the Buddha would say, the purpose of this life is for you to find your purpose. So as we connect to that wind inside of us, to that consciousness, then we connect to our purpose. So many people looking for their purpose, searching for it, but it's right there in front of them. And as we are very busy and very distracted, it's very easy for us to miss that subtle breath that's moving through us. So that breath of life, that umoya, I love the Xhosa and Zulu descriptions of umoya in terms of the breath of life. And we'll have songs and chants like Woza Moya, which means come, spirit, come wind, come. Yeza apa, Woza Moya, Woza Moya, Yeza apa, come, spirit, come. We welcome in the wind And often when we are doing our sangoma practices and we're doing the chants and the drumming, often our wind will pick up from outside, which we see as very auspicious. And often the weather patterns outside will change. So beforehand, there might be a clear sky, there might just be blue skies, there might not be a breath of wind. And then as we start to chant and invoke the wind, invoke the spirit of change, then a wind will pick up outside, and it often happens that after a few hours of chanting, we look outside, and thunderclouds will be coming, and so this is quite a normal thing for us. So feel that wind inside of you, breathe it in, feel it, and then I'm going to do some chanting just now. So let's take a moment. Let's do a little bit of breathing together. So just closing your eyes, feeling your breath, and welcoming in the wind. Welcome your wind inside of you. Just breathing it in. Closing your eyes, feeling your heartbeats and that place inside of you, feeling your heartbeat and taking a breath in, welcoming the breath into you, and just closing your eyes and just giving yourself just a moment just to rest, allowing yourself to rest. That's very important. Rest, 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 and let go. That's very, very important. Giving yourself a chance to surrender. And as we rest and let go, then we listen to those finer spaces inside of us, feeling your heartbeats and the pulse inside of you. Feeling that breath, and being aware of the weather outside, whether it's windy, snowy, sunny, and breathe in the wind from outside and draw that wind into you. How do you feel? And feel the pulse inside of you. Feel that primal pulse of life, which is your own heartbeat. And a very important practice is to be grateful for being alive, to feel grateful for the ease of the breath of the wind as it moves through you. And do a little prayer and a little namaste to the wind as you're breathing it in. And when you do that, you'll find your heartbeat will start to beat a bit stronger, and you will have a little bit more consciousness and a more awareness around your own heartbeat. And then ask yourself the question of how am I? How am I right now? And if you get a long answer, then you know you're connecting to your ego, and that's okay because we all have one. But you want to connect to your umoya, to the wind inside of you that goes beyond form, that immortal wind, that soul inside of you. So then you ask yourself a question again, how am I? Open your body up, sit up tall, make space inside of you. Breathe in again, feel the rumble in your chest. And then listen. An important part of being a diviner is listening. We have to first listen to that wind inside of us, and then we need to listen to the wind outside, the wind of nature, and then we listen to the wind of the person who's coming to us for a divination. We feel the wind as it moves through them, and then that gives us an indication of what is happening to them. So in essence, in South Africa, someone who reads the bones, someone who's a diviner, is reading the soul of life, is reading the soul of the person in front of them, and reading the soul of life. So what is that life force moving through the person, and what state of health is the person, and what can be done to increase that life force, to increase that soul energy. So it's not as such reading, doing prophecy and predicting the future. It's more about reading the soul of the person or the situation and what can be done to create more life force, more soul energy. And often, once you divine someone and you see what's happening to their spirit, and then you give them some ritual or some work to do, often people will dream. And the dreams is that sign of people connecting to their immortality, to that part of them that doesn't die. Now, an important point when you're dealing with your umoya, when you're dealing with your soul, you need to be aware of a few things. The language of the soul is not necessarily the language that you will be used to. So often we have to learn the language of the oracle. We have to learn the language of the soul. And the language of the soul is not the same as the language of the world. The language of the soul is the language of poetry, is the language of music, is the language of art, is the language of nature. So to be a diviner also means to study nature, because nature does not work with the language of man, doesn't work with Mandarin or Xhosa or Zulu or French or German. It doesn't work with those languages. It works with a language of emotion, of feeling, of wind, of lightning, of poetry. So as we connect to those languages inside of us through our dreams and through our day-to-day life, then we can start to develop our relationship with our own soul. And then as a diviner, it's very important, because then as people come to you who are sick, who need help, and you throw the bones for them or you throw the cards, then things become clearer, because you have a connection and a relationship with your own soul, and then you're able to understand what is happening to that person in front of you. Okay, so I'm going to bring my drum out now and just do some drumming, and the whole point of the drum is to connect to that life force inside of us, to connect to that wind, and to connect to your heartbeat. Okay, and do that now. And then as I do that, I just invite you to connect to your own life force while I'm doing this. Okay, so here we go. This is my isigubo, which is my sangoma drum. And take a moment again, feel the wind inside of you, feel that breath, and just invoke that, welcome it into you, and feel the spaces between each heartbeat. And feel when you ask yourself, how am I? Just feel the emotion, feel the sensations in your body, feel the wind. So here we go.
Breathe. Welcome in the wind of life. Was a moya. Yes, a moya. Yes, I was a moya. We welcome in the wind of life. Labazalibamo, volenle labazalibamo, volenle labazalibamo, volenle labazalibamo. Oh, I'm youngie, youngie. Oh, I'm youngie, youngie. Yeah, abazalibamo, bamo, yabazalibamo, bamo, abazalibamo, bamo, yabazalibamo. Was a moya, moya, was a moya, moya, was a moya, moya, was a moya, moya, oh moya, moya, oh moya, moya.
Oh, tula moya, moya, tula moya, moya, tula moya, moya, tula moya, moya. Oh, moya, moya, oh, moya, moya. One of the old sangoma songs we sing is also Tula Moya, Tula Moya. Tula Moya means quiet, the wind of spirit inside of me, quiet, quiet, still. So as you go Tula Moya, you're feeling that wind inside of you. Okay, so just feel your own wind for a moment. And I want to speak to you about oracles that you can use. So the best oracle or the best divining tool is your own spirit, is feeling the wind inside of you. And then the next is to listen to your intuition. And sometimes your intuition might guide you to a pack of tarot cards, or you might have a dream where you see a divination tool like a pack of cards and you're shown how to use it. So this is what happened to me. I was very lucky and blessed. I never went looking for tarot cards or looking to become a diviner, but what happened to me is I dreamt it. So I had these very strong dreams, and I still do. But in the early years, I had these dreams where I was shown how to divine people, how to read the spirit inside of them. And one day I had this dream about a pack of tarot cards, and I was guided to the temple that I was studying in South Korea, and I was shown these cards, and I was shown how to use them. And then a few years later, I was in the rural areas of South Africa with one of my sangoma elders and mentors, and we went into a cafe in the forest. And as we entered the cafe, there was this round table in front of us, and there was a pack of cards in the center of the round table, just like in a dream. And I noticed those cards were the same cards that I dreamt about, and I'd never seen them in real life yet. I just I'd only saw them in the dream. And the first thing I noticed with the cards, that it had this particular design. And it was the Osho Zen pack, which is quite interesting because of my Zen background. So the first thing I did was I shuffled the cards, and then I gave a divination to my elder. And he was so surprised. He said, "You know cards?" And I said, "No, not really, but Dipulpa likad apa." I said, "I dreamt about these cards." So I gave my first divination with these cards. So it's very important for all of us to listen to the wind inside of you, and then listen to those tools that are shown to you in life, the tools of omens, the tools of signs, the tools of dreams, and then listen to your intuition in terms of if it's guiding you to work with a pack of cards, or work with tea leaves, or work with stones, or work with bones. This is very important. So I think that I'm going to do some cards here now, and we're just going to take a moment, and I'm just going to shuffle the cards, and then I'm going to pick 3 cards just based on what's happening in the world today. We're just going to pick 3 cards and see what is revealed in the cards. So here we go. I've got my divining table here in front of me. So here we go. My little divining table. Making things interesting for everyone, hey? So normally the cards, we just shuffle it like a good deck. And just really shuffle it around so it's in a good state. So when you're working with the cards or any divination tool, we're looking to see what is the medicine that needs to be revealed to help us connect more deeply to the soul, to that ephemeral, immortal part of us, which is our connection to consciousness. So we're working with the tools of cards or bones or tea leaves to show us how we can connect more to our own consciousness and the consciousness of the world around us. Okay, so here we go. So we're looking into the world that we're in right now, and I'm just going to pick three cards. So here we go. 1, and it's based on what I'm talking about, and also the medicine of what is needed in the world right now. Okay, so around. There's another one. Okay, so it's quite interesting. I've got 3 here, and the 3 cards that have been revealed is awareness, existence, and going with the flow. So awareness is 7. So awareness is talking about the immortality of life. It's talking about consciousness and what is needed for us to connect more deeply to our consciousness. So here we've got existence and going with the flow. So I could take that as what's very important for us in terms of going with the flow is to surrender, to let go our thoughts and our opinions, our likes and dislikes, and to connect to that moment world. And as we do that, we connect to existence, and we go more deeply into our own consciousness and into the soul of life, which is what all the mystical traditions speak about. Okay, so let's pick another few cards, and maybe the next few cards I can talk about, what are the lessons for now? What do we need to do to connect more deeply to our awareness, the existence of the moment, and going with the flow? So here we go. And I connect, and do 3 more. Ah, beautiful. Look at this. Beautiful. So 3 more cards. Look at that. See here, we've got the mind turning inwards in terms of meditation, and then nothingness. Very interesting. So the mind is seen as sometimes an obstacle in the spiritual path because it's filled with dualism, likes and dislikes. And in order to connect to our soul, to connect with our consciousness, we need to let go likes and dislikes and good and bad. We need to go beyond dualism. And the way we do that is through something like meditation, where you're turning inwards and you feel the wind inside of you. And as you do that, you connect to the world of nothingness. It seems a bit bland, but that world of nothingness is really that space of clear consciousness, that space of soul. Okay, so I'm going to just pick one more. Here we go, guidance. Number 3, guidance of the angels. So as we go more deeply into our soul, as we go more deeply into our consciousness, then we receive guidance from spiritual masters, from dreams, from life. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm just aware of the time, so I hope this has been helpful for everyone. And if there's any questions that people have, then feel free to ask me any questions. Otherwise, we can go over to Renee.
Lovely. All of it. This is one I'll have to listen to again later, because I really like that concept of connecting with the wind in somebody else. Never thought of it that way, but I think that I've always said that people have an energetic footprint, and I like that it's really actually an energetic wind print. They always give me something to think about, so I like that. Everyone go over and sign up and get his gifts and listen to this again. And I want to really thank you for being here with us and always bringing an insightful share.
Thanks, Renee. And happy solstice to everyone and happy Christmas.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.